Honestly, it's crazy because you can have 100,000 followers and you can have 1,000 followers. I have 1,000 followers and make what some of my friends who have 100,000 followers make. And it's all about just having an audience or a following that just wants to work with you. The first thing is nurturing through resonation.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Naugle, your host. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to get into a different topic. We're going to get into the topic of gratitude. We're going to get into the topic of growth. We're going to get into the topics of leadership. And we're going to do that with somebody that I've gotten to know kind of just through social media, but also by no chance met out at an event in Arizona, Arden Shiller. So Arden runs a coaching company, but it's more than that. And we're going to get into that. What's up, Arden?
Hey, how are you, Chris? Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So folks, before we get into Arden's story and Arden's journey, I want to talk a little bit about you. I want to talk about your journey. On your journey, you're watching podcasts. You're probably going to YouTube. You might be learning how to dance on TikTok. And if you are, stop. But you're doing all these things by gathering knowledge. That knowledge is useless. It makes you feel good, warm, and fuzzy. But until you apply knowledge, it is absolutely a waste of your time. So for today's podcast episode, I urge you to do one thing. Out of what you learn, I want you to find one, maybe two things that you can apply. And I'm going to test that. I'm going to give you something for free. I'm going to give you all three of my books. Private Money Guide, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, and this little booklet sheet teaching you how to get all the money back for all the cars you're going to buy, driving on. You can have them all for free. But to get them, you have to take action. You got to go to chrisnaugle.com. If you don't know how to spell my last name, figure it out. Go to the website, 2 index fingers down, right there. Click to get the books, and we will send them to you for free. If you want physical copies, it's $9.95 and we'll mail them to you. But with that being said, that takes action. So I wanted to get you primed and prepped because today, what you're going to learn from Arden, you need to take action. So let's get into it. Arden. Now, I've kind of watched you on social media. At first, I couldn't figure out what the heck you did. I was like, she's a fitness coach. No, she's not a fitness coach. She's a business coach. Nope, she's a fitness and a business coach. So I had a hard time figuring that out. Now, tell everybody a little bit about what your business is so that I can get clear and so my audience can get crystal clear on what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So back in August 2020, I started an online coaching business, and it was a fitness coaching business. And I invested in my first ever mentorship, and he supported me through a 12-week group program that just taught me pretty much how to grow my social media and how to train clients online, personal train clients online and help them with their nutrition. And prior to that, I was a kindergarten teacher, and I was doing some personal training on the side for my kindergarten teacher friends, for my teacher friends, for my family. And I was always really into fitness and knowledgeable about fitness because I was taking care of myself. And so when I first started my company in August 2020, I got my certification and I really leaned more into it and started to really target teachers in that that was my audience for fitness coaching, because what had happened in 2020 is schools were closed, teachers were sitting at home, they were on Zoom, gaining weight. And so it ended up doing really, really well. And we grew that company super quickly by January 2021, I was making I made a $12,000 a month. I quit teaching. And from there we went and started making about consistent 25, 30, even $40,000 months, just really supporting teachers in our fitness company. And so that went for a really long time. I was growing my team. It was a lot of fun. And because of that, a lot of people started asking me, hey, Arden, you're growing this really awesome business. Can you help me? Because I'm struggling. So by December 2021, I kind of just took on a couple of my friends who also had fitness companies. And I was like, yeah, let me see if I could help you with your business. I was like, I love teaching. I love coaching. So why not help coach you through your business, right? So I started coaching a few of my friends in December 2021, and their businesses were doing so well working with me. And so that was really what planted the seed around I think I want to be a business coach. So starting in April 2022, after seeing my friends doing really well with their businesses, and me just kind of supporting them as kind of like beta clients, I decided to go full in with business coaching, but I still had a pretty big fitness company, and I still had employees in my fitness company. So I told them, I said, guys, we're going to let this fizzle out. Once your roster is gone, and we're down to 25 clients, I'm going to take the 25 clients. When your roster is gone, you're done, and you need to go find another job. And so I made that very clear. So my employees were slowly leaving one by one from April up until November. So a month ago, my last employee just recently left. And I took on my last 23 fitness clients. And so I have 23 fitness clients from the company. Most of them are people who've been with us for a few years now, pretty much since the start. But now I am, and I have been since April 2022, full-time business coaching. So I've been coaching other business owners, whether they are online fitness coaches, online mindset coaches, even any other online business coaches, learning how to grow and scale their business as well.
So with that, like you had mentioned that you were a teacher, how much do you think that plays into your ability to do what you do today?
A lot. I think that we have a lot of coaches right now in the industry online who are really good at being an entrepreneur. They're really good at sales and marketing, and they're really good at getting people into their programs, but they don't know how to teach. Exactly. And I think that's the most important part of being a coach.
But one of the things, just knowing a lot of teachers, managing money for a lot of the teachers' 403Bs back when I was an advisor, teachers get screwed. You go through 4 years of college. I mean, some are 6 or even more to get their master's, and you feel all good and great. And you go in to get this job and you become a teacher and what does a teacher start at these days?
I was making $2,100 a month in my first year of teaching.
$2,100 a month. Man, that doesn't pay for fuel, rent, and food, let alone anything else. So how is it that, I can't even understand why anyone would want to be a teacher if that's what the stats are. And, it's sick, and it explains a lot of the problems in this country, because this country has an education problem. A lot of what is being taught in the school systems gives, in my opinion, and I'm a little older, 45. So, education was different then than it is now, but it just seems like so much of what is taught isn't even applicable for the children. They're learning shit they can't even apply in real life. Like the new mathematics that they're teaching.
Common Core.
Where is that going to help anyone? Seriously, teach them how to do business math and they'd be way better off. I feel like the education system is so broken. And then I think a lot of the education system's brokenness has to do with the fact that they pay teachers like complete crap. Why would anyone want to change that or do anything to push the envelope when they can barely make ends meet? Why is it like that? It seems like teachers should be really highly paid because they're the foundation for this country's next generation. And they're setting this next generation up to completely fail.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. And I got in trouble a lot while I was teaching because I totally agree. And I would say this is silly to teach, and I wouldn't teach the lesson. Rather, I'd lean into something else for my students, and I would get in a lot of trouble. So I knew teaching wasn't for me because I'm definitely a big outside of the box thinker. And I think in schools, they're very inside the box thinkers. And they want to really shape kids to be rule followers. And, it's just at this point where my goal one day is to actually reform the whole education system.
I don't think you're alone in that. I talked to a lot of people that want to reform that, but the whole school systems seems like you can't change that. You'd have to change the testing companies because it seems like everything's driven by the testing companies, not the schools. And I don't know what I'm talking about when I get into that, but all I know is it's a very broken model, but it did catapult you into, having a unique ability to teach the things you do. So where, and this is kind of a maybe just forward question, but why, what in your past makes you a business coach? Like, when I think of a business coach, I think of somebody that's operated, a dozen companies, has been CFO of companies, like, has had experience on all levels of a company. Like, and then there's Arden. Like, where does the business coaching come in, and what makes you, feel like you're really like capable of that?
Yeah. So I did grow my fitness company super quickly. And I know that if I had stuck with it, it probably would have continued to grow and do really well, which is cool. But I think there's more to business coaching than just structure and strategy. And the reason why I truly believe that, like, I am a business coach and am a very good business coach is because I'm a very innovative, creative person. And I think being able to work with someone who's constantly evolving and constantly able to see the next thing, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people are like so focused on, oh, I have to do this every single day to grow my business. When in reality, it's more or less around being able to be innovative, create new things, start doing new things. And far too often, there's a lot of people that don't do that. And so just being in a mentorship with someone who is constantly evolving is going to be a lot more feasible for someone who's growing a business, I guess, if that makes sense.
How do you screen the people? Because I mean, most of your business, is it coming from online?
Yeah.
And referrals, I think you mentioned.
Well, that was my my fitness company is mainly like just referrals now. We're not really taking on any like applications or anything. But with business coaching, I do an application. So I have people who apply for one-on-one coaching, but I also do like a ton of different mini offers, live group programs that really lean into specific topics. And so at that point, if someone wants to join that, they can just pay for it. But my one-on-one coaching is very, very specialized around like who I truly want to work with. And I look for someone, it doesn't matter how much they're making financially. It more or less matters around the qualities that they have, because I want to work with someone who's willing, who has the same values as me, and who takes action.
Yeah, I think that's important. And, like I've studied a lot of things about what makes a person successful. Are they born, with that innate ability to be successful? Like, what is success versus failure? And, where I really found the answer, I got a lot of bits and pieces, but where I found the answer was at Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret in the World. He talked about a study that some doctor did about, took 125-year-olds. And I don't know when this was. It was a long time ago, but took these 125-year-olds, and at 25, how old are you, Arden?
I'm 26.
You're 26. Perfect. So 25, 26, like very eager, optimistic. I mean, folks, if you're looking at her, I mean, look at it. Look at how eager and optimistic she is, right? Life hasn't beat her down quite yet, but it will try. So we'll get to that. So they took these 125-year-olds and they asked them one single solitary question. Are you going to be successful at the age of retirement? And every one of them. So Arden, are you going to be successful at the age of retirement?
I hope so.
That's the wrong answer, but it should have been a hard yes. So most people, or at least back then, they all said yes, undoubtedly said yes. Of course, I asked Arden, she says, well, I hope so. So then what they did is they continued to track all of these 125-year-olds along with a whole bunch of other 25-year-olds in a pool. And what they found is by age 60 or 65, I think they did them both, only 5 out of those 100 eager, optimistic 25-year-olds were actually successful financially. And I thought that was crazy. Then I went in and I looked at Social Security Administration's numbers, because obviously they know who's successful. And sure enough, only 5 out of every 100 people are going to be financially secure at the age of retirement. And out of those 5, only 1 will be what we would deem as wealthy. So right there, that shows you that the problems are far and wide. But then they had to figure out, okay, well, why is this? And what they landed on was a simple conclusion. The 5 that were successful did one thing different. They created their own businesses. They created their own destiny. They created their dreams. They fulfilled and created throughout their lives. The other 95, maybe were creators at 25 or younger, but somewhere in life they made a switch and they conformed. They conformed to other people's failed realities, other people's failed dreams, and other people's failed plans. And they thought that was the norm. They got around people, and we all know this. You are who you surround yourself with. And they obviously found people that were boohoo people, people that just wanted to conform. People in today's world, that is far and wide. So I don't even know if the numbers have changed today, but like being a business coach, I would have to believe you're looking for those creators, correct? Those 5%ers?
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Just being able to be with someone who can co-create and evolve together. That's my goal. And so my clients, I'm not trying to pull them in and say, you have to do X, Y, Z to get to this much money or this in your business. My goal is to rather together come up with how to close the gaps in the industry, how to consistently do new things that are going to make new things, right? Because I think that yeah, that's literally where success is.
Absolutely. And that's unique. So when you're meeting with people and you're taking clients on through this application process, do you take on brand new business owners, people that have never run a business? They just have the idea, and then you kind of help formulate what the path looks like?
Yes, sometimes. It depends on, as I kind of said, like their qualities. If I see they're someone who's willing to really take the action and dive in deep, then yes. But if there's someone who's kind of like in it for the wrong intentions or want to do business because they just don't have anything else to do, I will not take them on.
That's smart. You'd be burning your time. And, a lot of your, we'll get into the numbers in a second, but a lot of your work is one-on-one, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I have 7 one-on-one clients. I try not to really take many more right now just because I also have fitness clients, but I do a lot of like mini offers. So I do a lot of like live group programs. I'll do like a lot of master classes, mini masterminds, and we could talk about what those are too.
Yeah, we definitely want to break those down, but let's get back to like the coaching and like bringing people through this, because I think right now we're definitely at a pivot. COVID changed a lot of things. The pandemic changed a lot of things. People, like you said, this is how this all started for you. You were home, you didn't know what to do, so you're like, well, all right, I'll start a coaching company, and it fitness coaching company, and it blew up. And I know a lot of other people did that. But as the dynamic is changing in the economy and the economic cycles, that a lot of those people that had these businesses that were flourishing, $10, $20, $50,000 a month businesses, now that things are getting back to normal and people aren't just sitting around at home, those people are back out into going out to the bars, going out to dinner. And I watch your stuff. You're out to dinner quite often too. So like people's lives are resuming normalcy. So a lot of people don't have the time they used to spend in front of their computer doing this stuff. Have you seen a change in your business due to that?
Yes. In the fitness company, 100%. A lot of times people would rather have an in-person trainer if they're not educated on why an online coach is actually going to be more beneficial. And so I think I tell all of my fitness clients, you need to educate your audience on why having the online training is actually going to benefit them more, because they're getting nutrition, they're getting 24/7, right? And when their audience is educated, it's like a no-brainer to do online coaching compared to in-person training. But seeing that shift, in a lot of the whole industry, I've seen a lot of coaches one by one just done. They're done. They give up because A, they're not willing to shift and pivot themselves. And B, they're not willing to step into this new way to educate their audience around, hey, listen, like I know when you were sitting at home all day, an online coach made sense, but it still makes sense.
That's smart. Okay. So as we kind of evolve into this new parallel, this new whatever it's going to be, I can't predict the future, nor can anyone else. But as we do this, what is the opportunities in the future for new business owners, like these creators that you're talking about, that you're coaching? They come into the program, and how do you teach? I mean, a lot of these people maybe have limited resources, because I know right now there's a lot of people pinched for money. So they might come to you with limited resources. You have a fee, which we'll talk about at the end, for your coaching. So they're going to spend that. So now there's maybe just a small amount for them to build this business. How can somebody that doesn't have a lot of resources actually get started? Because a lot of people think, oh, I got to have a lot of resources actually to out there. And I know the answer, because it's never about your actual resources. It's about how resourceful you can be. But let's be
what I was gonna
real, because
say.
that's cliche. Let's be real. Like, how do people do it? How do they get noticed? Like online, you can't just go online and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm a coach. Come, pay me for this." Like
It's true.
you get lost. You got about 3 seconds to gain somebody's attention. And a lot of times that's superseded with paid ads. So how do you cut through the mess of social media to get clients for like, how do you teach your students to do this?
Yeah, I think it's all about how you market and your content strategy and becoming an authority in your content. And I think far too often I see a lot of students come in and they're like just posting on Instagram, posting workouts, posting just things that like no one cares about.
Boring.
Yeah, boring stuff. And I'm like, hey, like, tell your story, resonate with your audience, nurture your audience, talk to them, do little fun, like swipey things on your stories, right? Get your audience involved with what you have to offer. And also just like with you yourself, because I believe that like when you're selling coaching, you're not just selling your services, you're selling yourself. And I think if you can be an authority in your content, in your overall marketing, and you can actually provide your clients or potential clients or your audience with this ability to recognize that they can have the outcome that you've created or that you've been able to give to your other clients, they're going to then want to work with you. But if you're just posting workouts or pictures of like, I see a lot of online fitness coaches just posting pictures of them like half naked in the mirror. And I'm like, yeah, that's hot. And also like nobody's going to want to work with that because you're not telling me why.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, even as a guy, like, I guess, when TikTok and that came out, that's all you saw. Now, like, that's the last thing I stopped to look at. Like, literally, like, even being a guy, like, yeah, I like that, but I don't even like look anymore just because there's so much of it. It's just like, if you were looking for that, it's overwhelming. So like, I'm always looking for something that stimulates me, I want to learn. I want to know. Like you mentioned, I like stories.
Yeah.
That's what always captivates me when I find something. You look at Will Smith or God, there's so many people that are just professional storytellers. You're always captivated because they're always telling you a story about a part of their life that got them to the next stage. That to me is relatable. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You did that too. You failed. Oh my gosh. You did. Like, as you're talking about stories, I'm thinking like when I was a kid, I remember we didn't have much. And my mom, and I don't know, Arden, if you ever had one of these, but my mom had, all the days of Christmas. And it was this little thing. It was like Santa's workshop. And each one of them had like this little cardboard box. And every day, when I got up, I was allowed to take the box out, and inside my mom would have like a little fun gift. So as a kid, BMX Plus was my favorite magazine and Rad was my favorite movie. I'm dating myself, but BMX was everything to me. I know it's different times, but I remember one day, I don't know what day it was, but I opened it up and inside of it, you ever put air in your tires in your car?
Mm-hmm.
Like the little caps you unscrew to put the air in. Well, my BMX had those boring plastic caps. Well, my mom got me white aluminum ones that looked really cool. Honestly, it was like the greatest gift ever. I was just a little kid. I took those things. I remember running out to the garage, putting them on my bike. And before the bus picked me up for school, I'm ripping my BMX around in the backyard through the snow because it had just snowed because I was so excited about this little gift. Like, all I could think about is telling that story in an Instagram about like, how many of you ever had one of those things and show a picture of that thing with all the little gifts and then like tell the story about that. Like, people can relate to stuff like that. And then if you can tie that into your business, well, if you're thinking that, you should think that way for this. Like, your business should be that excitement that I felt when I took out I don't even know what they're called, but like, that was the coolest thing. And like, seriously, like, I'm 45. I was probably 7 years old, if that, when I did that. And I remember it that vividly. I remember the snow that had just fallen. I remember the feel of it. I remember my mom making me put a jacket on because I was like beelining for the garage to get the BMX. I don't mean to talk about the story, but like, that's the stuff people want.
That's my email list. That's literally what I do on my email list. And last night, so I send out an email every Wednesday. And I did like this past Wednesday, I did like a really good like story and gave some advice at the end. And I said, send a smiley back if this like was awesome. I think I only have maybe like 200 people on my email list. I got like 30 emails back. And like
Wow.
last night, this one woman, I was like, dang, this one woman was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got to pull up what she responded. It was so sweet. It was like, Arden, please stop. Please never stop writing about this. It is so important to me. I feel like my life is a bit out of control right now because I have a lot on my plate. And my goal is to get a good work-life balance while making money in 2023. You have really changed my life.
Oh.
And all I did was tell a story about how I learned how to balance my business.
Here's the thing. And, Kelly Cardenas is somebody you should follow. He's a dear friend of mine. He ran salons, like he ran like beauty salons, and he was partners with Paul Mitchell, and you can't miss him. He's got big blonde dreads, but all he does is talk about unbelievable stories like that. And he always references it like when you meet somebody from the surface, you'll never know what's going on behind it. You don't know if they're hanging on with all five. Picture, somebody's hanging on a building and like their life depends on how many fingers they're hanging on with. You don't know if someone's holding on with 10 or just the end of their pinky. That person you just mentioned, maybe that person's hanging on by the end of the pinky. Your email just hit one nerve and they reach up and they got 2 fingers hanging on now. You never can tell. What you do and how you react to people can be the difference of literally, I don't mean to go here, but life and death, or success and failure, or happiness or misery. Like you just don't know, but it's those stories, those little tiny stories that change the difference. And that's what you embody. And I'm glad we're going down this path because a lot of people are listening and like, Chris, what the hell does this have to do with business coaching? Everything, because you don't have clients until you can touch their heart and solve their problem. And these are the ways you do it. You think you're going to, I'm just going to create a funnel. Oh yeah, I'm going to get Richard Brunson. That's not Brunson. No. Anyway, doesn't matter. The guy that creates the funnel thing, right?
Russell Brunson,
Richard Branson, Russell Brunson. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
They're the same person.
Not quite.
At this point.
But you hire that, you get his software. Now you can create funnels. So you spend all day creating a funnel. Now you got a funnel. Awesome. Now you got to figure out how people are going to actually use the funnel. So you put it on your Facebook page. Your Facebook page has 150 followers. Instagram's got 30. TikTok, you've managed to get 1,000. So you put it on all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Crickets. Like your message, the message is what you need.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's all about relationships. Business, if you want a long-term sustainable business, it's about creating relationships. I still, because I did this so well in my fitness company, I still get people. Actually, the other day, someone messaged me from 2020. I guess I had messaged her back in it was like October 2020. And I was like, hey girl, thanks for joining our Facebook group. How are you? Like, do you have fitness goals? She just responded. So 2 years later, hey, I've been watching your stuff over the last 2 years. I'm totally interested in fitness coaching. I was like, I'm not really taking on clients, but I'll send you to a fitness coach. And it's like those moments of, because I had such a good community on Facebook, because I was constantly creating relationships, because people knew me and I didn't even know they knew me, right? That is what created this long-term business.
Which is a whole nother business in of itself. Cause like what you just said, so I'm looking at this differently. And I don't know, if you saw this or that, but like you created a fitness business, but you pivoted. You wanted to do something different. You just needed something more that fueled your fire. So you kind of backed off the fitness, but you've spent, better part of a year building this up, marketing this. So people know you, they come back to you. Now you could just be like, I don't do that anymore. And you could just be like, call such and such, or you could have called such and such prior and said, hey, listen, I get a lot of calls for people that want fitness. I would love to have you, because I trust you and I know you do a good job, be my main referral source. Can we work out an affiliate arrangement? And then you take that Russell funnel thing. I know. I almost said Branson, but like that Russell Brunson, and you create the funnel, and then that funnel drives them to that person, and right off the bat, you just get paid.
It's not a bad idea. It's
not at all.
I haven't done that yet because I really haven't. Honestly, I haven't even looked at the amount of people that have applied for fitness coaching in probably the last 3 weeks. So I should do that.
You're probably missing out on between $1,000 and $5,000 a month just in that. You don't have to do anything other than facilitate the needs and goals of the people you used to serve that you no longer do by still serving them.
What else? Yeah.
See, look at now. I just gave you a raise. But let's get into like paid versus unpaid marketing. How much paid marketing do you do and how much unpaid marketing? Like, how do you get most of your clients? Is it paid or unpaid?
Unpaid.
Okay, explain how you do that. Now we can get into these masterminds, the masterclass, because this is an art form, folks. I want you to really understand this. Like, I have people on my team. My number one guy on my team, Devin Burr. You guys can look him up. Okay, he started with nothing. Okay, he was in a kind of a rough place when he came. He's going to make, well, I think, of just under $1 million this year is what he's going to make. And all he did is figured this thing out that she's about to tell you. He figured out how to basically put organic content up that he's not marketing. I don't think he's ever spent $1 marketing or boosting a single post he did. He's got, I think, 800,000 followers on TikTok. He had this one video he did at my last mastermind at a restaurant where he's just talking to somebody. And, my video guy was filming him. It went viral on Instagram. It took his Instagram from like 10,000 followers to like 130,000. Now, most of his business leads are coming from Instagram, not TikTok, because TikTok just sucks nowadays. So explain and map out how people can do this organically, because this doesn't cost money, folks.
Yeah. And honestly, it's crazy because you can have 100,000 followers and you can have 1,000 followers. I have 1,000 followers and make what some of my friends who have 100,000 followers make. And it's all about just having an audience or a following that just wants to work with you. Right. And so pretty much mapping out step by step is to first have an Instagram account that has really good content and marketing. What that looks like is having a content strategy. So I can kind of dive into what that looks like. You want to be able to post things that's nurturing your audience. So kind of what we talked about, resonating and relating with them, right? That's going to come into the storytelling. That's going to come into posts that are really going to make your audience love you as a person because they've seen your failures. They've seen how you've done really well, and they've seen how you've made it or overcome something in your journey that they probably want to overcome that they haven't yet. That's the first step. That's what I always say.
Let me just comment on that one thing that's really important. She understood her followers, even if it's 1,000 or 100 followers, she knew what her followers were, which makes it easier for a smaller group. So then she can just talk to the audience the way they want to be talked to. So having less people is actually advantageous for this.
It's huge. It's really, I don't like when my reels go viral because I just get a lot of India people follow me and I just remove them because I'm like, dude, you guys are pointless. You're not going to buy from me. But yeah, so really being able to speak to your ideal client. That's the first thing. Who's your ideal client? I always start with my business coaching clients. I say, like, who are you speaking to? And 99% of the time, it should be you 3 years ago, something that you've overcome from like the last 3 years, right? The reason why I'm a business coach is because I had a fitness business and yeah, the business did really well. And what I've learned is that I was so unpresent, anxious, stressed out. The way I ran my fitness business was out of lack. And I think that is why I teach business coaching, is because my goal is to now teach how to run a business, not out of lack and scarcity, right? My goal is to teach my audience how to run a business out of actually enjoying it and striving satisfied. And so I know who my ideal client is, and I know exactly how to speak to them because I look at my content, and Arden 2 years ago would have wanted someone to post that on Instagram. That's how I know how to speak to and resonate with them. So the first thing is nurturing through resonation. The next one, like going up, like if there was like a little pyramid, right? Then we really want to lean into creating a safe, secure place for your audience. And to do this, it's the I got you, and then it's I get you. And you want your audience to know, it's I get you and I got you. You want them to know you got them, that you are a grounded, consistent coach. And that comes from emotional intelligence, right? You're not sending them the link. You're not cold DMing them 17 times. You're not, if they say no, they're not interested. You're not still bugging them, right? It's those things around the things that I used to do in my fitness business did not make my audience feel safe. So it actually stopped them from wanting to buy and work with me and reach out to me because I was so focused on the next level, the next thing. I was so anxious. You could feel it in my marketing that I think it actually also held me back in that business. So my goal as a business coach and what I've shifted into is I'm a lot more grounded, neutral, consistent. My audience knows what's coming every night around 4:45 p.m., the sunset. rate my sunset, right? I have these consistent things that my audience feels safe because I'm literally a very safe person. Does that make sense? So that's the next thing that you really want to lean into with your audience is let them know, like, I got you. And then going up the pyramid, right? So now your audience, they resonate with you, you get them, you got them, you're keeping them safe. Here you want to kind of empower them. Okay. And a lot of times I say empowering them through your own stories, right? That's the storytelling, but also through testimonials of your other clients, through giving an example of what a high level client looks like, right? I just made a post around what my second mentorship call looked like. I just posted that this morning. And it's like being able to say to them, hey, like this is a testimonial of what it looks like when you're coaching with me. That could be more of like a, hey, this is safe. Like I got you. But it can also be like a empower you. This is how we're going to show up together, right? Maybe you're posting testimonials of clients who have worked with you in the past who are like, I love this person. She's great. So that's gonna be the next step. And then we want to really lean into just your offer. Like you have to have a no-brainer offer. You have to have stuff that, and I think this is where the industry lacks, is they're like literally just like high ticket one-on-one. That's it. And like that's gonna push away all the people who are like, A, don't have the money to drop 10 grand, and B, aren't really sure what they 100% want. So maybe they want to try some lower ticket thing. And then next thing I've had people who have tried out like a free masterclass and then paid in full the next day for my one-on-one coaching because they just weren't sure. Because they were like, I kind of love this, but I don't know. And then boom, that made them sure. And so being able to have an offer that's just a no-brainer and having multiple offers for people to enter your world, to be a part of it, is really what's going to create not just your reoccurring income, but also just the ability to welcome more people in.
You said something in there that one of my top mentors told me many years ago when I was in a really low point in my life. I was a financial advisor, but I was transitioning into real estate. I was in this flux. I was hurting for money because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do as the advisor because I just was so interested in real estate, which took a lot of money. And it was this hard time. And I remember I went out to his mastermind. It was $5,000. I didn't have. I maxed the credit card out. And I remember like just everything. I stayed at the cheapest hotel I could. I was embarrassed. And I remember like the one day when I learned where it was, I walked to his mastermind because I didn't want to pay for an Uber. And, when they went out to fancy dinners, I didn't go, or I would just kind of eat whatever they provided. So things were rough. I've been there many, many times, but I remember in that mastermind, I asked him, I said, Greg, because that was his name. I said, he kind of knew my situation. And I said, I need the best advice you can give me. And I remember Greg leans into me, puts his hand on my shoulder, and he says, I'm going to give you the best advice I can give anyone. And I'm like, yes, Greg, give me it. And then he says, give your best stuff away for free. And that was it. And the first thing that I thought, I was like, you son of a bitch. Dude, I just paid you $5,000. And the best advice you got from me is to tell me to give the only thing I have that I can make money on away for free? Give it away for free? Okay, I won't be seeing you at your next mastermind because I won't be able to afford the damn flight to California to come to your house. Clearly, you know where I'm going with this. That was the best advice. It was the best advice anyone could ever have given me. And that's exactly what I've done. Ever since that point, I fought it, but I did it. And I give my best stuff away for free. People are like, oh my God, why do you do that? Everything you have is free. Like, how do you make any money? When you give your best stuff away for free, people are going to get exactly what they want. They might not take action on it, but you're going to give so much that they're going to want to give back. They're going to want what you have. So anything you do, they're going to want to buy it because they've gotten fulfilled by you so much. And then you find out how to monetize it by short, small little ways. I agree with you. I think the people that go out there and sell these big coaching tickets, they're going to be gone. They're going to be like dinosaurs. They'll be extinct soon, because once all this newfound printed money starts to dry up, which it already is, they're not going to have clients that can pay 30 grand, 10 grand. They're going to be looking for the real people that have been giving it all away for free because that's all they're going to have. Just like back when the pandemic started, like you were there and people were seeking a certain thing. Well, that seeking is going to drive people to what you just said, all those free nuggets, those free things you're doing, focusing on having the right people that you're talking to, not more people. More isn't right. And I love that messaging. I love how you do that. So like, what can someone expect? Like if they wanted to go out and open their own business and do some of the things like from a monthly income, because that's how we all live, what would someone be able to generate doing some of these methods?
Yeah. So, I mean, my mentor makes over 100,000 a month. I make 25 about consistently a month. I think it really comes down to also like, it's going to take time. Like I didn't just start and make $25,000 months. I had to build my reoccurring income. I had to, kind of start creating relationships, right? This was a whole new business. So like transitioning from fitness and making, 40, 50K months at some points, it was really hard to drop back down to zero. So that was definitely a really hard time in my life.
That pivot.
That was the hardest pivot. I was like moving out to San Diego, starting my new business, and just invested $15,000 in my mentor. And so I wasn't able to pay myself in June. It was really scary. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent, and that's entrepreneurship. I can tell you that. But now it's like, once you get into it, it's like, oh yeah, I love entrepreneurship. One hard month is so worth the really great 10 months that you're going to have, whatever.
And how long did it take you to get to that point? Was it a year, 2 years?
Well, I hit 25 last month, and 25 in October. So I started in April. So about 6, 7 months.
That's like not even any time at all.
I know. That's what people say. And I'm like, yeah,
But it didn't feel like that. Every month probably felt a lot worse than what it sounds.
There were some months, and it's so funny because there's some months I remember in July, I was paying my mentor. I repaid. So I paid my mentor $15,000 in March. And then I paid her again for another 3 months. So it was March, April, May, June, and then it was in July again. And I remember in July, I just moved across the country. I had spent $10,000 on the move. And that's where I was like so stressed out. I did not have the money in my bank account. So I put it all on a credit card to pay her again. But I just remember I was like, how am I going to pay myself? And it was like that moment of like, I literally signed a client for $5,000 the day before I was going to pay myself. And I was like, and then I was able to pay myself. But it's like when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it's shit like that you just have to go through to like be able to get to where I am right now.
I can relate. Yeah. I think every entrepreneur has been there, maybe more times than once. And I can tell you, I've been up here and then down here and then up here, then down here. And, I don't intend on going back down, even in this next recession, this deep economic collapse we're going to see coming. I don't plan on, I'm not going back. No freaking way. But that takes a lot of planning, and that's for another day, another time. So like, how do people actually, like, if they wanted to start watching your stuff, where would be the best place for them to watch it?
So I am pretty much maximized out on all social medias, but my main, like where I really sell any programs or offers that I have is on Instagram and on Facebook. So Arden Shiller for both. Just Instagram. There's no space between my name.
We'll put the link in the bios, folks, if you want to follow it. And do you have any free master classes or anything coming up where people could kind of dip their toe in to test it out?
Yeah, I actually have one coming up. I have a mini mastermind coming up. It's 6 weeks long. That's not free, but I have a masterclass right after that on attachment styles in business, which is, I think, something it's on being secure, anxious, or avoidant in your business and how that actually affects you as a business owner.
So let's talk about the paid mastermind. When is that and how much is it?
The paid mastermind starts on January 19th, and we're going to actually be diving into everything outside of structure and strategy, kind of what we were talking about, of becoming a neutral, grounded coach, being able to, we're going to talk money. We're going to talk just kind of like doing the shadow work behind a lot of things. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence, being aware, being creative and innovative, how to stand out. So that's going to be a lot of things of like the things behind the scenes as a business owner for this mini mastermind. So the pre-sale price is $777 for the 6 weeks. And then the early bird price is $888. And the regular price is $999. So that's going to be offered starting on December 26th. And you have from there until January 19th to join in.
Very cool. Well, we'll put that link up too. And then immediately following that, you're doing a masterclass. And is there a cost for the masterclass?
No, that one's going to be free.
And is it how many days is the masterclass?
It's just one day. It's going to be
Perfect.
one evening. I think it's on February 1st. I forget the exact date, but
Well, that's great. So with that, I mean, what would be your biggest piece of advice? Well, let me frame this up a little better. I'm looking for your best advice, but knowing what I know, there's going to be a lot of people losing their jobs soon. There's going to be a lot of people, their businesses are going to close, and they're going to be needing to do that pivot like what we've talked about. What's the best advice you can have when those people lose their job, get laid off, when they feel like everything's falling apart around them? What do you got?
I think it really comes down to trust. Trust that you know what you're doing, and trust that what's the worst that can happen? You have to end up in your mom's house for a month. Like that's what I always say. I'm like, oh, my mom hopefully will take me in her house. But right, when we can just trust that we know that we know we can move forward, and that, I mean, honestly, think about it. I watched something from Gary Vee, how he used to sell cardboard for $1, like, and people would buy that. Like, there's no way that you can't not make money, as long as you can trust that you know what you're doing and you have something to offer. Right. So
Absolutely.
I think it's just being able to know that, like, it's going to be okay.
I love it. I love it. So folks, take action on this. I mean, there's got to be one golden nugget in everything we've talked about that you could take action on. Give your best stuff away for free. All the things she told you, that, about how she does her marketing without spending money on paid ads, because that's what stops a lot of people. So, like, just follow this blueprint. Get in her mastermind. I mean, pretty soon you're going to be able to open up those seats. So grab one at 777, or be that person that's like, well, I don't know, and then pay 888, or be that person that's like, I don't know, I don't know what's going on,
The
then
night
pay
before.
999. Great. You just cost yourself $200. Like, be smart about it. Like, pay 777, get in that. And then if you're one of those, it's like, oh, I'm not doing that. Well, then do the free masterclass in February when it comes up. We'll put the links up. Follow Arden online. And Arden, thank you so much for your time today and all your stuff. I continue to keep following you and watching and picking up golden tips along the way.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right. So for all of you, I said it in the beginning, I'm going to say it again. It's action time, because now you got the goodies. Now put them to work and take action. Go out there, have a Merry Christmas. Because right now, what is today? The 16th of December. It's time, folks. I actually had to pause midway through because there was a Christmas parade outside our doors, and I'm sure Christmas is coming to your door. So Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy Hanukkah and all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next episode.